Okay, it looks like we are live. So let's start. Double check my mic. Okay. So where did we left off yesterday? So yeah. So yesterday we started like the new Next project for the SVG editor. And after some configuration, we managed to have like this opacity slider. Yeah, this opacity slider. So let me just confirm everything is fine on here. Oh, yes. Okay, perfect. So we have this slider that will allow us to like change the opacity. And as we change to other objects inside of the FabricJS canvas, we can see that the opacity is being reset and actually is being toggled to the correct levels. So what I want to do today is, since I have just a couple of like 3 hours during the day, I just probably in this hour try to add more controls to be able to like change the shape, maybe not really the shape, like the size and other properties, because at the end we are starting by emulating what like editors like Vector are currently doing. So they have all these kind of properties here on the side, and I want to first of all recreate something like that. They also have like this kind of like color pickers, and I currently don't have one, so that's also one thing that probably we are going to do. And later on, so first of all let me write down a couple of things. So we want to add more controls to the property panel. Then we want to add also layers. So layers in here are they are like this. So basically you can decide whether one object is on top of the other by changing the layer. So this one is a path. If I move it on top of the other one, yeah, I can just drag and drop it, and it will just change the layer position. So this is also something that I want to have. And yeah, we will keep taking inspiration from other tools in order to like create our SVG editor. So okay, let's start. So we had our property panel in here, and as of right now we only have the opacity. Now the thing is, in here we can check what other properties we have for like an element. And when I select one, I have, let's see if I have the object in here. No, I just have the opacity in here. Oh, okay. In the selected one, yeah, we have different kind of properties. So we have like the fill one, and it's already like set to yellow. And then what? Then we have, let's see. Left for the position, so there will be also like top, the width, okay. Zoom is okay. We have the scale, so wait, the scale and the zoom are actually the same thing in here. I mean, I see them as the same value. Let me see if I can zoom in so it's also visible on the stream. Yeah, so I have zoom values and scale values which are basically the same. And yeah, so we have positions, we have the size, we have the stroke color, stroke width, this is good. And opacity, we already have set it up. And yeah, let's start with that. So first of all, let's add like the top position. Top position will be just a Z number, and there are no requirements for like minimum or maximum. I believe that they can also be like negative numbers, because if we start moving something over like the offset of the canvas, we are going to have negative values for that. So that's one thing. Oh, also one other thing I noticed, like this canvas size right now is very, very small, so I would like to change it. And that's on the scene side, I guess, yeah, 200, let's make it 500. So, okay. I mean, later on, we probably want to be able to change this by asking the user what size of the canvas you want. And based on that, it will just have a different size. But as of right now, just for testing, probably it's better to have a bigger canvas, so I can make more experiments with regard to the property panels. So let's go back to the property panel, and right now I have like top, and let's add also like the left, which is going to be also a z number property. So there is a comma here, and from here I want to have the inputs. Like this, but for numbers. Do they have anything specific for numbers? Number field. Okay, that's fine. That looks okay. It's a little bit different from, for example, what they have in here, but I guess it's fine. Let's see if there is anything. Now this has like some. Okay, some validation and also like some text before that. Okay, I don't think I need that. Yeah, probably just a basic number field should be enough. Do we have it already in the code? Number. No, we don't. We need to add it with this command. And as always, it will ask me to like replace my current util TS file with some modifications, and yeah, it's fine. Okay, click here, right. Sure. Now we have the number field. Okay, and we can restart term. Did we start it in the first place or not? Okay. Oh, okay. We can restart it from here. So now we should also have like the number component. Let's add some stuff. Let's see the examples first. Like in here they have like age, and it's pretty simple, I would say. Okay, but we want to have it in the same fashion as the slider. So in here we had form label, form item, and stuff like that. So form field. Let's see. So what if I just do something like this? So what if we have two of them? Is this going just to put them one on top of the other? Yeah, it's okay. The spacing is, I don't really like it. I need to make it smaller. It's still too much. Let's ignore the spacing for now. Yeah, whatever, we can adjust that later. So this will be one thing, and then we have the form control. Form control in here. Did I delete something wrong? No, it's just a slider, right? So let's put the number field. This will be like the top one, right? Default value. Should you have a default value? Let's see what has the slider. Yeah, also the slider has it, but it's really being ignored, I think. And minimum value, it should not have anything. Label for top will be simply like the height. How do they call it here? Yeah, it's like Y position. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. Y position. So, and it has these three things, which is like the field input actually, and the other things which are like the increment and the decrement. And yeah, so what if I want to have the component field for that, and it has to be like top, right? And I want to use the vModel value. So I want to have something like this, like the model value for that, model value. I don't have one. I hope that this works like this, like model value, and then I'm going just to put the component field, the model value. And then on change, I need to set up the change. What did it have in here? Update. Okay, so it's not on change. It's going to be, yes, something around those lines. But I'm not sure. I'm really not sure about that. I mean, let's see. So some values have changed. This watch should be triggered in case okay, so radix icons. Okay, so this one also to use the icons. I don't have anything against it, so I will just probably use them. pm install, because like the plus and the minus icon probably inside of the number input are currently from radix. So after installing them, let's see. Okay, so here they are. Okay, did some values change? Yes, they changed. So this is fine. I think this is fine. Okay, I just don't want it to be like so. How do they handle this? Like they have like way smaller inputs than I do. Can we have like a smaller size of this thing? Like H9 is pretty big, I would say. Do they have something like this size by default? Not really. I mean, I can manually change it, of course. Can manually change it and say, okay, I'm going to go in the number field into the index or whatever it is. Yeah, in here, instead of H9, we are going to have like H7, 6 or whatever. But then I will probably need, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's too much. H7, how about H7? H7 is already like better. Like the thing is, if it's too big, I'm not going to be able to put them like one on the side of the other one. So let's first try this one out, and we have top and left, right? So we're going to put top here, and I want to have not opacity, but this has to be like Y position, right? But we already have it. So I don't think I need this. Also, like the form control stuff and the form message. So this thing is useful in case we have some validity check that are failing and something that we want to like add. But I don't think that in our case they are so useful. I will leave them there just for now. I don't want to like strip everything out of it, but later on it could be probably removed. And also in here we have form item and this form field. This is fine, I guess, but I would also probably want to have something like this for putting them one close to the other. And yeah, this would be the Y and the X position, right? So ID left, okay. How about now? Okay, so this is setting stuff that is like required. Why? So if I set an object in here, optional, is this an actual thing? Can I just put optional and you will not complain anymore about stuff? Could be. Wait, by putting optional, maybe it's just me. No, okay, it's just me. I thought it's like removing some space from here. Is it like a little bit smaller or something? I don't know. Anyway, like we need to make also the icons smaller. So we have the number input. I just set it to H7 in here. And this one will also pass the icons, so there will be like content increment and decrement, this one. So these icons here are way too big. Let's go with 3 for now. Which one I removed? Okay, so the plus became smaller. Minus icon, I guess. Yes, this one will be 3 as well. Okay, it's a little bit better, I guess. Like it has, yeah, it's a little bit better, I guess. So we can have like huge numbers. I mean, to a certain extent, and they should be fine. We have YY position right now, so probably it's better to like Y. This one will be, where is it? Like the left. So this is X position. So okay, X position and Y position, and now we basically need to connect them. We need to connect them to the So in here we are going to connect a few things, and as of now I'm not sure whether I want to do it manually for each one of the properties, because we have like some special cases. So since we are using like the slider component, just to make an example, since we are using the slider component, from my understanding, could contain multiple values in it. So if I set like the initial value of the slider component to be something else, what it's like set field. So oh yeah, I need to also do the float number thing. So yesterday we figured out that the first thing is you will have like this set field value, which I like a lot. And this set field value basically is changing the values inside of the form. But if I put something like 30 here, so this is an array of numbers, what will happen to this? Yeah, exactly. So this is what I was expecting. So the slider actually accepts like also ranges inside of it. And I'm not even sure if it supports multiple ranges. So what if I go and say just 50 in here? So am I going to have like 3? Yeah. Okay, so this supports like 3 different values of slides or whatever. And basically you can change, it's a pretty useful component, but this also means that we are not going to change, we don't have like a single value for each one of those fields. So what I mean by that is now we are going to have a bunch of different properties that we need to change. And those properties are like top, left, opacity, then we have the width, the height, what else was there? Like the stroke, feel. Okay, so let's focus on those properties first. Now, top is the number, left is a number, opacity is an array actually, because like even if it's just a number, I need to like cast it somehow to make it fit inside of this slider component. Then we have the width and the height, both numbers. Stroke and fill, those two things will actually be strings for colors. So either it's like hex or RGBA or whatever else, but this this means that I need to change those values. I don't really like the idea of having to check them manually for that, but I guess that for now I have no other better choice. Let me think. One way would be to have a callback function for each one of the values, but that simply means adding like some sugar coating on top of, like it would be like a glorified switch instead of having like a bunch of ifs, which is not that better, I guess. I mean, it could work, but it's, I don't feel like this is that much better. Okay, sure. Let's start with the basic example. So if we have the top or if we have the left, then we are going to set top, then we are going to set left, and as I'm doing it, I already like don't like it that much. Like, I already like feel the pain in writing so many times like these different ifs. I don't like this idea that much, and also because like if I have active and then I will have this value, this is changing for the opacity right now. So can I just remove this thing, please? Is this useful? What is this for? Why is this here? Oh, I see. I probably forgot about this. So this entire watch is not useful anymore, or at least I hope so. Oh well, we will see. Okay. Yeah, it was not useful at all. Perfect. So I see. So we are going to have this these values in here, opacity. Does it really matter for the other values? Like if I put like top 0 or whatever, is it really going to matter? I don't think so. Like I can put it just for like sake of completeness, but it should be fine. Now the thing is, this part, this here is something I don't really like at all. And the same goes for this one. This is the same exact thing, because I have to do this and then go and say, yeah, it's left, then top is going to be top. So probably what I will end up doing is to have a list of properties that are like single value and then some exceptions like the opacity, because otherwise it's just going to be bad. Yeah, I don't really like that. So anyway, position is not working as expected. Oh yeah, of course. I'm setting the wrong values. In here that should be left, and this one should be top. Okay, and now still nothing. So this one has been set to 0, at least that one is correct. But what about this? We have the form item component field, the name left, and we have the number. But since it's changing the values, my guess is that it's connected correctly, so something else must be going on. So you set the field value effective top. Let's see. So in here, when I'm doing this, I'm changing some values, and okay, but anyway, the left value should work, right? Yes. Okay, so it's working, but I was not able to see it that well. So by increasing this, I'm moving actually the X position, then I'm moving it back. So of course, since we are dealing with numbers and I'm just checking this, I need to just go and say whether it's like different from undefined, and the reason is because otherwise the automatic casting is going to say, yeah, 0 is actually a falsy value, so I'm going to ignore that, while I want to be able to set something in position 0. On the other side, no, this is just going to be the same, I guess. Yes. Different from it, and the value of opacity length is actually greater than 0. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Okay. So this is fine. Now the thing is, when this is changing, right? When this is changing position, nothing happens. And the reason is because we don't have a listener on top of the canvas itself, meaning that when we have the selection, we're changing now. We have just the listener for the selection, right? So do we have FabricJS event listener on object? This is for object selection, and that's not the answer. SJ, let's see events. Object added. So wait. We have some events. So when you add an object, how events works? Static canvas works. On, off, once, and fire. Okay. So this poser is a function that when called remove the event listener. It might be easier to use. Okay, so this pose better than off. This is nice. Event list. Okay. Event list is event demo in here. Okay. Custom events. You can create custom events. That's nice. Let's stick for the. Great. So I don't think we are going to have the demo for the events expector, unless from the previous versions, like Fabric version 5, we had events inspector. Yes. So they actually, like, by upgrading stuff, I don't get it. Like they did a lot of improvements probably in the new version, but breaking the documentation, it's not helpful. Like this link, if this doesn't work, it should at least redirect you to the previous one. That's my honest opinion, at least. Because otherwise, like I don't know, it's not obvious for people that, like, if they go in here and like the documentation, they are going to find the v5, and in the v5 they are going to find a full-fledged documentation of what was the software before. So I don't know. I would expect at least to have like a default redirect to a previous documentation if the new one is not ready yet. But anyway, so okay, there is a ton of events. Okay, we have mouse moving. Okay, but the mouse moving is one thing. What if yeah, the object is moving? Okay. Do I need to add it to every single object? That doesn't sound good. Object added, object removed. So I can imagine that object added and removed could be used to check for the layers, for example. You want to remove some objects from the layers as soon as they are removed from the canvas. And this makes sense. Object event moving, scaling, rotating, okay, which are basically the same. Observing these events. It's not like I have much choice here. So object moving. Let's try to clear the log. Yeah, the mouse move is everywhere. This is like move before. Why does it change color? Trusted target. Okay, it has a target, which is the object itself. This is fine. Mouse out of what? Out of the target. This also kind of makes sense. How about the object movement? Like, I cannot see one example of object movement. So far it's always drag me on the canvas. Okay, so you have the drag, the drag over and other stuff. But what about the object moving? Am I going to be able to move it? Like, no, with arrows it's not working. I mean, so far I only see like, wait. Okay, wait a second. I saw one object. Yeah, object moving. Okay, object moving, target. Okay, this is fine. Wait, this is not actually that fine. There is a transform target. Okay, object modified looks better. Like, the reason why I'm saying that is because these are like all different properties and we need to observe all of them. I don't need to, like, I need to check each one of them in order to change the properties inside of the property panel. So instead of doing that, most likely the best thing to do is just to check for the object modified. Problem is, how do I check for that? So whenever I'm drawing something on the canvas, I need to say, okay, I'm going to trigger this object, trigger this event. And when do I care about that? That's the point. When do I care about that? So what I'm thinking right now is we have two kind of objects, if we want to say so. One is inside of the store SVG, we have the active object. The active object could be basically right now the first object of any selection. But later this could be multiple objects, and when we have multiple objects, we basically are screwed. We either we combine them in a group, or finding a way to have properties could be hard. Like, let's see in here what they are doing in Vectron. So if I have one object, it's fine. I'm going to just check the active object, check the target of the active object, and take the properties, listen on the changes. So whenever you select something, so this will be like the selection created event, and then you move it. So you can register the events that are happening on top of this one. But what happens if you have multiple of them, right? The active objects is multiple things right now. So there are properties that you can change, the alignment, for example, but other things are not that easy to do. Other things are not that easy. Okay, let's start with something. Let's start with the object modified. Let's see how that goes. So whenever we have the active object that is being selected, is mean that on the scene we have either like created, so it's this thing here. So either we have created something, or the selection has been updated. So create selection with a target, and this target would be a Fabric object, right? So in this case, if we have the Fabric object, right, what is the selected thing anyway? It's an object, not a Fabric object, just an object. And what is an object? What are you? Object. Let's see. This is the iObject interface for the object option. No, I went too far. This collection. This is all the series of events. Okay, so at least I know that the current version still has them. That's good. We have the modified, right? Yeah. Object modified. Yeah. So, oh yeah, that's something like the fabric.object means that, yeah, this is called object inside of their documentation. Okay, it's fine. So if you have an event selected for now, we are going just to set the SVG store active object to the target. Okay, and this is fine. Basically we need to call this target. No, this update selection with now. Yeah, because of course this could be this or now. Okay, now this is the same. And the reason why I'm wrapping this in a function, I hope will be clear in a moment, but this I need to have null. This one here should be fine. Okay, so the reason why I'm adding this into a wrapper is because I want to add or remove the listener depending on whether the object has been selected or not. Because otherwise I have to have listeners everywhere and I don't need them. Because even if, like, let's suppose that I have listeners on each one of those objects. At least that's my assumption right now. So if we have a listener on each one of these objects, it means that whenever they change, like, I still added an event listener even if I'm not doing anything with the green rectangle right now. So I'm just using the text box, and this one has an event listener on top of it, but it's not being used. So I guess it's not that useful. And if you try to remove something, it still will be like it still will be among the active objects. So everything that you do, from my understanding right now, is going to be through the active object, meaning that we don't need the object event everywhere. Okay, so if that's the case, we are going to say that the active target, so if there is a target, first of all, like if the target is there, we are going to add the event. So target add event on. Oh, on sounds about right. Object, yes, object modified. Okay, now we go back to the discussion in here about the custom events and the off, because at some point, of course, if you're trying to remove, if you're trying to set to null, the current target should remove the object. But what if I remove unregistered event? Be careful, the off method can be called with only one event name. In this case, will be removed. This is bad since it does not protect. Okay. For example, removing all the mouse down will break text editing. Okay. This pattern and moderator are deprecated and should be avoided. Cool. The disposer is a function that when called will remove the event listener. Okay. The handlers are called bound of an instance. These either fabric. Fat arrow functions can be bound to anything else than the context which where they were created, so you don't want unexpected size effect. Use functions for event handler. Okay, it's fine. I can accept that. It's okay. For event handlers, I will just use functions instead of fat arrow functions. Oh, and you have the disposer. And the disposer is a function. I see. You register like the on, and then whenever you want to do the off, should I store it somewhere? That's my question. And then you call dispose. I guess that's a typo in here because like the on function probably. Wait, let's confirm this. This is like too much guessing. The on returns type T. So, okay, what is T? It's the interface. So it returns something. Let me see. On specified event after render. Okay. So my guess is, first of all, this should be a typo here. There should be, like, I have the disposer, but then, or use the return value of on. Yeah, so, okay, this is the disposer, but actually this here should be disposer, not dispose. Then we have the off. We are removing the off of the handler itself. So this is basically like events in JavaScript, just normal events in JavaScript, or at least that's my assumption. So, okay, we need to store it somewhere. We need to store it when we are registering the new function, meaning that if we want to have the function in here, what is the context where we at? We are inside of the unmounted. Okay, and we already have functions in here. Do I want them in here? Definitely not. I want them outside of the unmounted. But in here I want another function, which is add objects, object event, add object event, add object, an object modified. And this is a function that I not sure which on object modified. Okay, and then if I store the reference to the return value, does it have to be a ref, or is it enough for to be a function? That's interesting. So let's see. First of all, on object modifiers, taking the handler, it's event name, it's type iEvent. So I have no idea what it is. Let's first, this should be like event, whatever it is, and then let's see event. Okay, then we are updating the selection. If there is a target, we are doing this const let disposer. Let me do this for a moment. I may be totally wrong about this, but my guess is that this one, if I do this, value is equal to, okay, type object is missing the object, the disposer. Why is this returning an object? Like from here, my understanding is that whenever I register like a function, this will give me back the function to remove it. Okay, otherwise we can use just the off with the specific handler. Okay, let's just store. Probably I don't need to do that even. This should be fine. But I'm not so sure. Okay. So if this target else, we are going to check whether we have, we are going to remove from the active object. So the SVG store, SVG store active object, we should have, if we have one. So if there is one, as if there is an SVG store active object, then we want to remove the object function in here. So on object modified, on object modified. Okay, and this will clear, at least this should clear the function, the event function. Okay, let's see. Okay, now if the object has been modified, we are up for a good start. This is not even registering the event in the first place. So we have the target, right? Target, then we are going to add this, and the onObject modified should just be a function that receives the event and prints it out on the console. And as of right now, it's not doing it. So we are calling the update selection when the selection is created. And let's see. Let's first of all see the target. So let's see the target. If I'm selecting this one, this is going to be our Fabric object, and I want to add some. Okay, add event listeners. What do we have? Okay, we have some object modified. There is also like a triple clicking here event, but we also have on object modified. Wait, this is my function. Function location. This is my function. So this has already registered the event. Okay. Okay, so right now it's just ignoring it, no? Because the object is being modified, but it doesn't care. Wait, what? What happens if I select this one? Wait, did it just disappear? No. Okay, so let's suppose I'm moving this one. Nothing happens. Interesting. Absolutely interesting. So if there is a target, then it's going to register this, but the onObject modified function is not doing anything. Not even saying hello. And we are updating the selection, right? So, okay, so in here, right, we have the console log for the line 74, yes. So we have the target, and we also check that the target has already the function in it. The event listener. Wait, what? Okay, so this proves simply that our function for clearing is not working correctly. So as you can see, like in here, if I'm going to have listeners, yeah, it keeps adding like just listeners, one after the other. So even though they are just false right now, there are two functions, so this is going to be called twice. So this proves that our current solution is not working. It's not working as I wish it would. So the function onObject modified doesn't hold the same reference, or when oh, we don't have the off else. Actually, we need just if there is a target. Okay, we are updating the selection. Basically, like if we have a target, or even if we don't, we want to remove. We want to remove the active objects. Okay, so let's try with this one. Let's try with this one. So basically, what we are doing is, no matter what, if we are updating the selection, the current active object is going to remove its listener, and then we are going to put it back on the new element. So in here, if I'm going to just select it a bunch of times, and then I'm going to check the event listeners object modified. Okay, at least we have it only once, but it's not removing it correctly still. So the off in here, is it because it's a it's not like a reference to a function, it's just a function, so maybe the pointer is changing every time we like we re-render the component. Let's see. Why is that the case? Where was it? In here. To unregister, okay. Or otherwise you have this, but this is something that you do in the newer version, so I'm not sure it's supported in the older one. This is the event expector. Let's go for like tutorials or whatever. Events. Okay, we have events in here. So what if I want to remove the event? There's on method every event and off to remove it. Okay, let's be brutal for a moment. Let's just remove the entire event. Like, I don't care. Let's see what's going to happen. Like, it's still the object modified. So I'm not sure what the original function of it is supposed to be. But anyway, we are removing it. So this is working, right? This is still like being modified or whatever. Now let me add it a couple of times, and ideally we are just removing everything from that, removing everything from the event listener. But look at this, this still has like a bunch of false here, and then it has one of them. Is this how it's supposed to be? I don't think so. This should just remove the event. Does it say anything about having like a set of false? It's like not, it's not clearing, it's not clearing the event array. The real target click of any event is present at the time, but target only exists if you actually did click on some object. Target is only passed to the handlers where it makes sense. For example, mouse down, but not after render, which is fine. Okay, so which other? Okay, you have a bunch of them. Note that you are fired continuously every time an object is moved or scaled, even by 1 pixel, which is okay, which is what I also want. Okay, and events like object modified or selection created are fired only at the end of the action. Okay. 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 So in here, if you see that on the other on vector SVG editor, in here, as you can see, I'm moving this thing, but it doesn't change the properties on the right side unless I drop it. So I stop the movement, and at that point, it's going to change the values down here. So they are using something similar. They're using actually something similar to the object move. So I will not expect the movement to immediately change the values, but still, why it's not deleting them? Okay, this means that events are all scoped to the canvas instance. If you have multiple canvas, okay, they're all independent for convenience. Is there any way for me to get is there any way for me to get the event listener array and manually clear it up? Wait a second. So first of all, okay, we still have this this event, right? We have this event, but this is not being triggered. So before we start thinking about clearing the array, maybe it would be nice to make it work in the first place. So if we have this target, the target has the object modified, okay. This is moved. What do we have? Moving, for example. Let me just print some stuff. This is the moving one, and it doesn't print anything. This appears not to be working as I expected. And we are calling the update selection, right? Yeah. So we have this updates the selection, and to know that we are here in line 74, then we have the active object. We are removing the event. We are adding a couple of events in here because we have the target, right? Yeah, we do have the target. And I need to find a working example of that, because otherwise I feel pretty stuck on this. So demos here, there was the event inspector. Event inspector. Okay, and what do I do in here? Can I check the code? Like in here. What is this observe object moving? Okay, we also have observe object on mouse up and different other things. What is this? Observe event name, non-observing. Canvas 2 on event name. Ah, okay. Function opt log event opt. Okay, so this is doing it over the canvas. But if we have the event on the object, it's going to have this function here. So the observe object. And this does canvas you get object for each one of them. You add this event. Wait, are you going to call it multiple times? Yeah. Oh, I see. I see. So this is going to just add all this manually to each one of the objects. So this is also a way to do that. Whenever I'm adding the object, I'm just going to have a bunch of event listeners on top of that. And whenever I'm removing it, the problem will remove itself from the canvas, basically. That's one way to do that. Yeah, I just hoped I could have just events that I need to have on top of the canvas, not all of them. So basically, this one is saying, okay, let's create the object. Let's try it out. Let's try it out. So we are adding this object string here, and I'm going to say, okay, let's ignore the entire update selection stuff in here. Okay, so this is not. Okay, the object modified will be the actual function that I want to have. Let's put this on top, and I'm going to say on object modified. Then I'm going to call the function of the on object modified. Okay, let me do that on B and C as well, but not on the text. Let's see what happens. So in this case, we are not adding and removing them dynamically. Again, nothing happens. Some values have changed, but that's something else, right? Wait, this is the position of the object, so at least like the initial value is correct, but still the other part is not. On object modified. Which one of you is A? Wait. 65. So this is the selection created event, not the object modified. Does it have to happen before we add them to the canvas? By any chance? Like, no. Okay, so why this thing works? So why this one works? You have for each function, for each object in the objects, you add this. Sure, whatever, let's do this. Like, kind of getting out of ideas. So this will be like the canvas. We have, we are not going to add these things. Okay, this one is like thinking that I'm on HTML. So canvas get objects for each one on object modified log modified. Okay. Also, it has like a log function, which is let's see. There is a definition of something that I need to know. Oh no, because it's just adding the log to the other side. So Oh, wait a second. It's not doing anything. Object modified, object moving. It's not triggering any event at all. So it's adding the events. Then you check the event listener and you see the object moving, that it has a function, which is the function that we are currently using. And then whenever we are triggering those events, nothing happens. That's interesting. Like I can also see, like I actually see the event listener having the event inside of it. So I must be missing something else in here. Okay, canvas. Separator, observe object. Wondering what version of this are you using right now? At this point, I am willing also to bet on the version. So this is, let's see, FabricJS, which version are you using right now? Is it this one? No, this is Carbonads. Fabric. Let me check out from here directly. So network. Preview. This one, 521. So we are at the same version, almost at the same version. Should be nothing related to that. But why cannot we have, like if I have it unmounted, right? It's adding the events, but at the same time, it's basically ignoring them. Let's try other events. Let's try other events if that is also not working for some reason. So we have those on top of the canvas and those on top of the objects. So observing these events, object modified or whatever, object events. Wait. Please don't. Please don't. Please don't. Oh, good. Okay, we got it. The worst part is that this makes sense. Actually, this makes sense. It's not so clearly explained, at least from my perspective. Maybe if I read more the documentation, I will be less surprised by this kind of thing. But like these are like observing these events, right? So this thing is going on top of the entire canvas, likely. Okay, so we have also the selection here that we are already using. I already saw somewhere like the mouse down and others. But if we wanted to add them to the objects themselves, it's not, the event is not called object moving, but it's just moving. Same goes probably for like modified or whatever. And I don't even see modified right now. I see. So if I don't see the modified one, I probably will have to do it manually and register the event. Basically take the, okay. We can do this. I have a little bit more confidence in being able to do it now. but we are going to add them basically for each one of the elements. So the update selection, we are going to keep it like this. When we are adding some elements to the canvas, we are going to have something called I don't know, function setup object events. Now the thing is, we need to do all the events for every object, meaning that I think that like having a target fabric object no, that definitely should have something. We are going to have a set of events, and these events will be the moving, scaling, rotating, and what's moving, scaling, rotating, no, rotation, okay, rotating. Then we have skewing and resizing, and this should cover more or less all of it, right? So now we have this list of events, and for each event of these events, we are going to target on the event. We are going to call a function which is on object modify, right? And this is just for the initialization. So that's the function. The setup will be called immediately after this, and it will be called setup object events for the object O. Okay, so this would be like to do initialization phase, init phase for each object. Okay, this can be removed. Let's see. So now we are going to add all of these events, and this is going to call the on object modified, and the on object modifying is going to like press this event. So yep, absolutely is going to change and make it work for each event. Now we have mouse events, pointer, transform. So whenever we are moving it, this says mouse event because I'm moving it with the mouse most likely, but the transform is what I want to have. So basically this one, now I'm going to move it to like 0, 0 or something like that in top left. So my guess is last X. Okay, so it has also different parameters. Origin X, this is like the anchor. This is fine. Last X, last Y. Where is the position that I was looking for? Oh, target. So in the target, what do we have? Left 0, top 0. Did I really put it to 0, 0? Let me just maybe, because otherwise I'm not sure. Target, transform, original, target, top. This looks almost like, yeah, correct, I would say. This looks almost correct. So that's fine. I got notified I will have lunch soon. So let me wrap up stuff quickly in here. Now that I have this, I want to modify stuff. So basically what is going to happen is this is going to modify the properties and I can trigger some events and say, okay, there is something that has been modified. So the active selection is one thing, but I will have also something like the current transform. Let me think about it, because what we want to do in here is if the object got modified and it was the active selection, that we needed to update also the property panel, right? But why don't I have just the modified event here? Modified. See, this doesn't make sense to me. Can you just have nope, just the object modified. Scaling and resizing, moving, also moving. Maybe this object modified could be used in a different way, but then I need to add it to all of them. Let me try something. Instead of doing this, can I... auto comments is not working anymore. That's not nice. I need to fix it. Instead of doing this, why didn't I just think about having object modified on the entire canvas and then have like a function that has the opt, and inside of the opt we are going to have most likely the target, and this means that this will apply every single time any object on the canvas is modified. Yes, and the action was drag and I have the canvas. Okay, it was very simple at the very beginning, and I think I overcomplicated it. Yeah, this could be way easier. It's like right now I'm not registering that event anymore, and every time an object is modified, this is going just to trigger the entire thing. So when this triggers, we can just set again. I don't really like this solution. I'm going to change it, I swear, but right now I need to do SVG store. The active object is going to be the OPT target, if there is one. So basically what I'm doing is update the selection. Update the selection with the OPT target, if there is one. Otherwise, null. Yeah, right? Yeah. So if this works, basically what is happening is it's going to change the property panel, and in here we have a watch for deep, watch for SVG store, yeah, this one, and this has to also be deep, otherwise, no, I don't think it has to, probably it's fine. Okay, so if I move that, let me try with deep. Nope. So the thing is, this actually should update selection, where is it? Update selection. Okay. This should set the active object to be this thing here, the target. And the target, has it been already modified when I have the change? Let me see. Okay, let's see. This one, target. Okay, this is the target, the transform. So the target originally was in position like 0 something, right? Yeah, top 0, left 0, fine. If I move it, okay, the target itself left 77 and top 200. So the target itself has been modified, but for some reason it's not showing it. This is the transform that has happened, but this is the original one. Okay, so there is probably like a difference between, like they store also the difference between the movement that happened. But do I need I should not need anything else. I just should have a top and the others set in here. So if there is a target, which in this case we have a target, right? This should update the selection, and we don't need this anymore. We don't need either this one anymore. We have the property panel, and in here we should just have the watch, right? So let's see if it's registering the change on property value. Okay, on property value, null. Okay. Nope, it's not registering the change. So this is why it's not displayed correctly there. We are checking the active object, the value of the active object, but this is this changing over time? One thing we could do is just to set it null, just to check that that works. So whenever I'm setting this one, I first set it as null, just to clear it. This is terrible, I already feel sorry for that, and I just need to be sure that I'm not having some kind of other issue with that. Yes. So I see the point. So the watch is not working correctly. The watch is not working correctly. But otherwise, like this is working as expected. So it's changing the values. Now, of course, this is like removing them for a moment because it needs time for rendering. Because otherwise the target has some, the target is being set again. And by being set again, it's not changing the properties of it. So instead of having the active target, probably I would like to have the active properties. And by having the active properties of, so whatever I'm observing inside of the SVG store, active, I don't know, active transform or whatever, transform, this could be either null or a set of properties that I care about. So right now, I'm just going to do this. I will have to have like some actual type for that, but right now I have just opacity is also a number or null. Okay, so we are going to have the active transform, and then we are going from the panel to watch the active transform. Okay, and based on that active transform, we are going to check this. Okay, and when we are changing values in the scene, when we are updating the selection, instead of doing this very bad thing, we are just going to set this one and then say SVG store active transform is equal to an actual copy of the values for the target. And I'm overestimating this. Like this is just going to be like top. It's going to be the target top, left, and so on and so on. Okay, opacity. Okay, of course, if you have the target, if there is a target, otherwise doesn't make sense. Okay, top number is not assignable to. Yeah, sure. Sure. Here you have some default values, so you have. Okay. Yep, now it works correctly. Man, that was painful. That was painful. And all of this because I didn't understand at the very beginning how these events are working. But now this is way clearer. So the canvas has this. Each of the objects have possibly this here. The moving and so on and so forth. So yeah, I think I will wrap it up in here for now, since yeah, since we have what we wanted, we have like a double communication, but still there is like a ton of improvement that I need to do. Like in terms of code, this I don't want to have to do this like for each one of the properties. I mean, we could do that. We could do that, but I don't want to do that. Maybe just having like the list, similar to the events that we had before that I just removed right now. But similar to those events, I just wanted to be able to say, okay, I have this list of properties, set them to the default value, and whenever some of them are being updated, just change the values on the property panel. So yeah, for now,